Oh, right. Somebody's accused you of not liking chole
Mm.
bhature, right? And you want to say, no, actually, I do like that. So in that moment, you can't be stative about that. You have to be a little active if you want to correct them. So you say, नहीं नहीं, मैं छोले भटूरे पसंद करती हूँ. किसने कहा? Who said?
Mm. So you're defending yourself, perhaps.
Because you're showing that no, I actually like it. If you want, you could say, नहीं नहीं, मुझे छोले भटूरे पसंद है. It's just that it doesn't drive it home that much. You know, it just sounds like they might not they may not believe you. You or it's still not resolved completely. So if you want to resolve these disputes or these things, then uh, you just say it in a dynamic, active way, and it should like set the record straight. Because whenever that happens, you just want to make sure you sound kind of strong. But otherwise, if you're not, like, if there's no need, then you're usually talking in a very kind of stative way or passive way, nonchalant, not a lot of
Mm.
emphasis. So then
It's
you
neutral.
neutral, yeah. Mhm.
If
Okay,
somebody asks, like, what Indian food do you like, then you could say, Mujhe chole pasuri pasand hai.
yeah,
Okay. And
because
how
it's
many, do you know how many, is it a set number of how many of these pairs are that are stative and dynamic, where it's like you can have mujhe something hai versus मैं something करती हूँ?
I haven't counted them, but my estimate is like about uh, a dozen common verbs. Like for every go construction, there's a dynamic version. You could look at it like that. Like
Okay.
for example, मुझे डर है. मुझे डर है कि पोल्यूशन बहुत ज्यादा बढ़ जाएगा.
Mm.
Pollution. Or I could say मैं डरता हूँ, but it doesn't fit that context. So
Mm.
मैं डरता हूँ कि pollution बहुत ज्यादा बढ़ जाएगा doesn't really work because it's
What if
nothing that scared about. Yeah. I mean, yeah, it is,
it's a
but
little bit.
you,
But what
you
if
don't.
like somebody's like, why are you bothering to buy an air filter? They're so expensive. And then I could say, क्योंकि मैं डरती हूँ कि
Yeah,
pollution
yeah,
बढ़ती है, इसलिए
yeah.
मैं.
Yes, exactly.
So
So if we,
again, it comes back to a defense of an opinion.
yes, defense, justification.
Yeah, okay.
So you'll feel it. Like whenever you feel that way where you have to defend yourself or justify your actions, that it's almost a physical reaction. You kind
Mm,
of forward a little bit or you're acting differently. So what accompanies that kind of physical change is an active verb.
okay.
So how would you translate in two ways? I don't like this book much.
Uh, मुझे ये किताब ज्यादा पसंद नहीं.
Mhm,
मैं
mhm.
ये किताब ज्यादा पसंद नहीं करती.
One more time. One more time. The second one.
मैं ये किताब ज्यादा पसंद नहीं करती.
Yeah. So when would you use the dynamic one?
Um, when somebody's like maybe insisting that I read it, or like, why don't you read it? I could say maybe, no, I've already read it. I don't like it that much.
Yeah. Maybe you have to. Maybe there's a situation where you're having to choose a book out of like a few, and you're like, no, I don't like that one. We're not gonna. That would have to be dynamic.
Mm. So, but
So
when would you just say versus like, मुझे ये किताब ज़्यादा पसंद नहीं है?
you're observing someone reading a book, and they're like, or some, it's like lying around. So then they ask you, hey,
Just
you know
passing
this book?
comment.
Passing comment, right? Exactly. Nothing strong, no need to be strong. You're just explaining that you don't like it. Because in those cases, if you're too strong, then they'll be like, okay, okay.
Yeah.
You know, you'll just sound a little over the top maybe in that moment if it's dynamic. Because they were just asking,
Mm.
like,
Okay, so
how
it makes
about,
a difference which one you use.
oh yeah, completely, totally. They're not synonyms.
Mm.
I mean, yeah, the English in a way is, if you look at it from like, what does it translate as? Yeah. But within Hindi, they're not synonyms.
Mm.
So, how about what kind of food do you like?
आपको कौन सा खाना पसंद है?
Mhm.
आप आप कौन सा खाना पसंद करते हैं?
Yeah. So, what's the context for the second one, the dynamic one? The dynamic one is more important to contextualize. Reason is the default is the other one, the
Hmm.
state.
Conversational.
Yeah.
Yeah. So maybe if somebody, I'm trying to imagine, like if somebody has said no to something that you've offered, and you're like, oh, okay, which type of food do you like then? If not this, what food do you like?
Yeah. And
That work?
yeah, that works.
If we're having to decide between restaurants.
Yes, yes, that's right. Yeah. You've all decided that you're going somewhere, but you're the one who's in charge of selecting the restaurant, and you want to make sure you get this straight.
Mm.
It
Yeah.
shows. It also shows that you're actively trying to figure out what's going to suit everyone.
Yeah,
So
it
it can,
sounds stronger actually. Like one just sounds almost like getting to know you. Like, what's your favorite color? What's your favorite food? And one is like, no, I need to know, like, what type of food do you like? Like, I need you to
yeah,
actually tell me. Don't be polite right now. You can hear it.
yes, yes, that's right. You can hear it. And what you're hearing is there's a live connection between the subject and the verb. I
Yeah.
mean, aside from the karna is strong. It's a very strong
Mm.
verb, but there's a live electric grammatical connection between the verb and the subject. So that in general should sound, in general, whenever that happens, it should sound strong. How about Ravi probably doesn't know my address.
Uh, रवि को शायद मेरा पता mm, नहीं मालूम है.
Yes. Mhm.
रवि शायद मेरा मेरा पता नहीं जानता.
Yes. Mhm. So a context for the janta.
Um, hmm, okay, maybe. Well, this one doesn't feel as obvious. Um, maybe if you are giving Robbie your address and somebody's questioning as to why, like, hasn't he already been to your place before, or doesn't he live near here? Wouldn't he already know the way to your, like, why bother? Why bother telling him? And you're like, no, I think he wouldn't know my address.
Yeah. Yeah. That's yeah. That works. So you're saying that actively so that we can somebody can um put an effort into maybe calling him, telling him, or you would maybe, or
Mm.
you're justifying why you will. Also, what's another one?
रवि शायद मेरा पता नहीं जानता. Um, Uh, I don't know this one very much, but maybe like something else that comes to mind is maybe giving him an excuse, like why he didn't. Like he hasn't come on time or something, like he might not
Yes,
know my address.
exactly. Giving him the benefit of the doubt, defending him a little bit.
Mm. Like maybe we need to tell him, and maybe he doesn't. Maybe I thought he knew, but maybe he doesn't know my address.
Yeah, because if you in that case, if you said Ravi ko shayad mera pata nahi malum, well, it doesn't sound like you're about to find out if he does or doesn't. It just sounds like you're saying,
Mm.
you. It just sounds kind of like weak in the sense like you don't nonchalant, like you don't care. Yeah, he's. It doesn't actually fit the
Like,
context.
so would say somebody's about to send it, and they're just checking with me. Like, would then like they're like, oh, I'm about to send your address to Ravi. Does he know? Does he know your address? I thought he didn't, and then I'd be like, Ning
So
Ravi ko shayad
they
mere pata nahi malum ho.
well, no, maybe they'll say क्या रवि को आपका पता मालूम है? They can ask it to you in that way, not
Yeah.
to because theirs doesn't need to be that intense,
Mm.
but yours could be
Yeah. Yeah.
because you're like want to make sure that they do something about it,
Mm.
which is give it to them, give it to him. I mean.
Yeah.
So it's subtle. So you if you could just pay attention to this, like how
Hmm.
people around you are using the two whenever somebody uses the passive or sorry, the stative, just check like, all right, check their mood, check the context. Were they being soft for, because it like was what was did it match the scene? Also,
Mm.
when somebody uses the active one, what happened there? Why did they do that? The more you analyze this, the better.
Mm.